Hey guys, today actually we are going to talk about two different dimensions. We always talk about rich people, right? We always want give you guys what are the ways you can become rich, because our channel revolve around that. That's a goal, right, for everybody. But there is a two side for each story, right? There is a rich, always there is a poor, and you probably know like 80%, more than 80% of the millionaires in US, they've, they actually didn't inherit their wealth. They actually brought it. They actually not brought it, sorry, they actually created it, right? They created from their own like hard work and all those things. They were poor before, like their parents were poor, middle class or poor, and but sometimes what happens is like we're gonna today talk to you guys, like why poor people are always poor, why rich people are always getting rich.
Right.
Though at least you get some perspective. There are a lot of videos out there, they probably have different perspective, but this is going to be our perspective. That's what we're going to talk to you guys about. Sometimes it helps you to learn both side of it, so you know where do you stand, and then you know your issues and you can solve them.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I'll start with something interesting stat, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the lottery sales in US, right? Somewhere I read more than 85% of the lottery sales, people buying lotteries are poor people. Like they don't have enough money, but they don't even have enough money to survive themselves, but they buy lotteries every day.
Right.
Think about they that just like they just want some magic to happen,
Correct.
right? There is no silver bullet for
Yeah.
becoming rich, right? You have to work hard, at least to the extent that the money will
Right.
make you more money. But if you don't have enough money to make to make more money, then you have to get to that stage.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
So basically, what you get is what you put in, right? You have to work hard. No pain, no gain. Like you said, there's no magic bullet. Why some poor people are always poor? It's because they want something to happen magically. And the perfect example is what you said. You buy lotteries probably every day, every other week, or every week, with the intention that he or she might hit the jackpot, but it doesn't happen always. And they keep doing it. And what's the probability of winning the lottery, right? And so,
Yeah,
and what they do is without thinking about it, they keep buying, and without trying on their own. So that's a good
right.
point.
On the other hand, like if you look at the rich people, right? Even if they have little money, they save everything. On top of that, they start investing. They start
Correct.
multiplying the money, right? They know exactly. If you keep the $100,000 under the bed, it's not going to be $100,000. You like $100,000. Same the item that you're buying today with $100,000 is not going to be tomorrow, right? Or
Mhm.
2 years after. You will be getting very less item with that because of the inflation. They
Correct.
know, rich people know exactly that, and they actually multiply the money. Even if they get like $100, $200 extra cash flow from the rental properties, they try to reinvest in something else to make it more, right?
Yeah.
That is what they do. They don't go and buy lotteries. They don't go and try something shiny object syndrome. They don't have a shiny
Yeah.
object syndrome. So that's the main
Right.
difference.
And the other thing is, when even the poor, we're like, I don't know, it's politically correct to call poor, but for the argument's sake, let's say poor people, right? Even like we've heard some stories that people who kept trying for the lottery, like let's say poor people, right? And then when they hit the jackpot, they don't know how to even use it because they have not acquired the knowledge needed to handle
Manage the
that kind
money.
of money.
Right, right.
So
They
that's a
probably lose
disaster.
everything, I think. There is a stat about it.
Yes, and the thing is, if someone who's always trying, let's call them the hustlers, right?
Hmm.
Well, in case if they hit the jackpot, they have the necessary knowledge and courage to make investments out of that winning money instead
Hmm.
of just wasting them on some material stuff. So that's why rich people become more rich and poor people get even more poorer.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's true. And next one is I just want to move on to another one. It's like if you look at the poor people, they dress like so elegant sometimes, but they don't have enough money. They probably have like they're not even they don't even have a house. They're living in a sometime homeless. Who knows, right?
Right.
Some like that's what they do. They spend a lot of money on the clothings, but the rich people don't even care about clothing.
Yeah.
I've seen like just the t-shirts, right? I've seen um, uh, t-shirts, people walking around with shorts. And look at the Jeff Bezos. I don't know, you've probably seen him all the time in Europe or other places with his girlfriend, right? He's just walking with his shorts and uh, you know,
And even Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, there are some famous pictures of him and his
right.
wife, pregnant wife, walking around the streets, and that's like few billion, not few, like the billion
60
dollars
billion dollar,
across your
more than
street.
that. Yeah,
Um, without that, I'm probably wearing only like $50 worth of stuff.
right.
Shorts, t-shirts, and watches. So.
But I think we are not telling that poor people always try to show off. That's one thing, but we're
But
not
there is
telling
a
them to dress up.
tendency to go
It's
for
good to
the
dress up.
trend, go with the trend, and
Yeah,
that's what needs to be stopped.
right, exactly. And also, I've seen like middle class or poor people family. They have several cars, like maybe 5 cars. I've seen like some of the houses, 5 cars outside. They have a lot of sneakers and they have a lot of shoes. All those brand, like sometimes branded ones. They just go with that, even if they don't have enough money to buy some food or feed the babies. They just spend it on the splurge on other things. But on the other hand, like rich people, they always, I've seen like books, like they focus on the books. They focus on some kind of a thing that provide some in the future, provide something in the future. That's what they focus on, like education, and books, education, or teaching their kids and those kind of things. I don't know if you have seen something different.
No, and absolutely, that's correct. And one point I wanted to add to that, Venkat, is especially during COVID, like I wanted to make this as a point, like someone who's earning 50 grand a year, right? If you still say that you cannot feed your, I mean, these are some stories that I've heard during the COVID period. People earn 50 grand a year. That's a decent amount of salary, depending on where you live. But still, 50,000 is a lot of money per year.
Hmm.
You can still get things done. And there are some families that they're on the verge of being kicked out of the house, on the verge of being on the streets, going homeless. That's not an excuse for someone who earned 50 grand a year. 50 grand is a lot of money. I know it's not as big as 100 grand, 150. I mean, that's all, that's what we understand. But 50 grand is a lot because people earn a lot less than that. And if
Right,
50 grand,
exactly.
and someone who's earning 50 grand a year, if he's on the verge of being homeless, that's his problem.
Exactly, yeah, that's
Yeah. Right, and like you rightly said, it's not just poor, even the middle class people.
right,
Why middle class is always middle class is because that same reason. They live beyond their means and they don't have the right plan for the future. When you earn, you have to make sure you save some for emergencies like this. And you live beyond your means. This is exactly what happens, and that's why poor be poorest, and poor get poorer, and middle class become poor, and middle class still, some middle class stay the same. They don't want to move
right.
on from
Right.
that.
I just remember one quote from Bill Gates. So if you are born poor, that's not your fault.
Yeah,
Die poor, that's your fault.
yeah,
Just
absolutely
remember that,
spot on.
guys. And this video is just about showing, two
Some
dimensions
perspective,
of
yeah.
life, right? There are people. If you are poor, you can become rich. Also, other way
Yeah,
around. Like if you're rich, you can become poor if you
yeah,
don't do it right. Like the overall, it's basically like rich people always trying to learn new things, educate themselves, save themselves, invest themselves for the future. And they don't even show off things, but the poor people is quite opposite.
yeah.
That's why they're always poor, and the rich people is always getting richer.
Spot on. That's the message that we want to send across. And and we hopefully we gave some tips and tricks, how not to be poor, and how not to how to be how you can move yourself up in the ladder. Just like you said, this is a perspective, quick perspective on these points. Thank you so much, Venkat. Yeah, it's a great
Thank you
point.
guys.
Yeah.
Bye.